Okay, this is it. Final thoughts on Highguard before I uninstall the game, because I'm going to be quite honest here. There is a game, but it's way too undercooked, and this game was absolutely sent out to die by Geoff Keighley's insane decision to put this at the end of the Game Awards. This is the TLDR. It basically feels like a mod, as if you've got loads of different ideas, you've put them together, and then you've just sort of threw it out there, and it's kind of fun in little bits and pieces, but the whole package just isn't refined enough. There just isn't enough substance there to keep you playing the game. The maps are just really big. It's 3v3 on a massive map. Now, I'm fairly sure the reason for that is to make the matchmaker find games quicker, because if it was 10v10, which I think would make a lot more sense, it probably would take too long to find a game. But you know what? Given how much sort of scrutiny was on this game come its launch, it had nearly 100,000 players on Steam concurrent. I think it could have facilitated 10v10 games. There's a lot of pointless design decisions here. I mean, you've got things like the start of the game, you are defending your base where you're kind of like trying to reinforce it, which is pointless because the walls can be destroyed super fast anyway. Then you've got like a pointless looting phase where both teams are doing the same kind of thing, and then you move to actually getting involved in combat. So there's a lot of dead time at the start of the game, and this game being 3v3 cannot have that. It needs to have these high engagement moments all the time. If you watch my video from yesterday, I actually said it needs to keep up these high engagement moments, because when they do happen, genuinely I think they're actually quite good, but they don't happen enough, and it's actually it's quite boring. It feels quite hollow. Heroes are just garbage, right? I'm just going to straight say this. The design of the heroes are way too safe. They're not interesting enough from like a design perspective in terms of if you compare them directly to Overwatch heroes. Overwatch heroes clear. I mean, absolutely clear anything that Highguard has got on the table. And Marvel, I mean, you know, they are just on another level as well. So this is Highguard's hero design. It's way too safe. They're way too generic. I can't even, I can tell you the name of Atticus, the guy with the thing, but I can't remember anyone else's name. And also, what's the guy with the thing? None of this is sticking in my mind. It's just, again, it's underbaked. Also, the hero abilities are not really the best. They are quite forgettable. And maybe they don't have that much impact beyond the certain abilities, like the team res, one of the heroes has got, which is really strong, or like a res point. And I guess the lightning spears were quite good. Right, let's address the Steam review situation, because this is... I think this is unfair on the game. I know the game isn't the greatest. It's like a mediocre game at best, right? This isn't like a 10 out of 10 absolute masterpiece. But I think people going in on Steam and review bombing the game, it's a little bit unfair, because this was never going to be some AAA absolute mega game, something with like insane design and it's going to be awesome. No, I mean, it was billed as that kind of because of where it was put in the Game Awards, and I'll explain why that happened in a second. Again, that is actually insane. But I think this is kind of unfair. And this does actually raise the whole debate of, should you actually have restrictions on Steam reviews? That is a... Okay, this is the Steam page, and as you can see, this thing has been annihilated. This is one of the reasons I put in my title of my video the other day, where I was like, don't believe the reviews, because the reviews are not really... None of them are critical. It's just critical in the sense of a higher level of critical thinking, let's say, right? Okay, some of them are, but all of them are critical. I don't know what I'm going with this. Critical, everything's critical. Basically, what I'm saying is a lot of these are just like memes, right? Which is fair, because it's the internet, whatever. But you can see there's 14,000 negative reviews. Like, the game is free to play as well, so just download it yourself and make your own opinions instead of listening to idiots like me on the internet. But like this top comment here, this one I really want to highlight, just simply because I think I completely agree with this. Still, I can't understand in my head why the devs agreed to this, because they either, like I keep saying this, they must have been sniffing their own farts to an extent where they simply believed their game was the next generation. It was amazing. It was going to be incredible. And it kind of isn't. It's just mediocre and it's really half-baked. Anyway, look at the comment. I mostly just feel bad for the devs. The game clearly wasn't designed or prepared for this level of scrutiny. Everything is blurry and unclear. The map is the size of Latvia, but you only have 3 players, so most of your time is spent running around the map looking for something to kill. It's saying it's fast-paced shooter, but it's also the merchant makes you go mine rare earth metals to buy stuff. The characters are profoundly bland and uninteresting, and the art direction is just like they dumped every cool idea into a vat. What if there was magic? What if there was guns? What if you could ride a bear? What if there was Excalibur? What if there was a giant siege tower? The game isn't fun and it isn't interesting. All that said, it's free. Said as well, there are a lot of reviews about poor performance, which, yeah, is completely, you know, that's warranted. If the game runs like shit, then, you know, that should be, you know, that's going to, I mean, that's just bad, right? Your game should run good at a base level, and if it doesn't, then that's just garbage, right? That's not very good development. For fairness, let's look at a positive review. We'll look at this I mean, there are quite a few positive reviews. There's a positive review there. But I think this one here just kind of sum this up. So the game is fun. 5v5 would make it better. But other than that, I'm having zero problems in the game. It doesn't deserve the hate. And that's the thing, isn't it? Does the game deserve the hate it's getting? If this was launched as a... let's not say launched. To say if this was just announced in the middle of the Game Awards... People would have forgot about this game. It would have launched. It had a few thousand players, and that would be it. Instead, this happened. Game got 97,000 players. That is way above the pay grade of Highguard, I'm afraid, right? If this came out the gate with 5,000-6,000 players, it probably would have maintained a few thousand, then slowly decline. Instead, if I just get my face out of the way, you can see what's happened here, right? Massive burst of interest, and then it has dropped off a cliff. This is not a very good sign for the retention of your game. If you're going to lose that number of players that fast, I mean, okay, remember there are different time zones, people are in bed and stuff like that, but this is a drastic drop-off. What you would hope to see, and I think what the developers are hoping to see, is this bounces back up again, come like prime time today. I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think the game's sticky enough. People are just going to play it like I have and gone, okay, there's kind of cool concepts here. The package is maybe not the best, it's underbaked. And yeah, I've had a nice little time. I'm going to leave now. And that's the problem. You don't want people bouncing off your live service game after an hour of play. There's another game which has kind of suffered from this, and I hate to drag this game again. I feel like I've dragged it a lot, but it's Wildgate. That's a game that suffered with. It just didn't have that stickiness to the game, you know. But although Wildgate was a really well polished game for what it was, it just didn't have enough content. Whereas this is kind of like sort of a bit of both. It's sort of not really that polished, which I'm not. That ain't too bad because I want you to get your games out there, guys, not spend decades polishing them and there's no content. But then the content was also not really coherent. Look at this. This is insanity, right? This is from Kotaku, and this is what, well, you can see the title, yeah? Highguard devs talk turning Rust into a hero shooter, and that terrible Game Awards reveal. Now, the problem with the Game Awards reveal is... We're going to explain how they got to that, but it is a case of the trailer was trash and it didn't sell the game, and that was the first impression of the game. So everyone is going in with this loaded negativity that they're not going to be able to overcome, and you can see that in their Steam reviews. And also, like I said, this isn't the greatest game ever. It's just like, if you want to give ratings to things, it's like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 maybe. Ugh, it's meh. You're going to play it a bit, and then you're not going to play it, right? I think in some ways this is similar to... I remember back way when, like in 2010s, you had a lot of these like really low budget games that were coming out on Steam, and they were okay for a few hours. You'd play them and it was like, okay, this is fine. Oh, there was one game called Section 40 something. 42, 43, I want to call it. I can't quite remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter what the games are. But there were these like half-baked games, but it was fine because they were really cheap and you might play them for a few hours and whatever, you didn't care. Although now, in this modern world, it's like, even though the games are free, you're under so much scrutiny. People are just coming in and going after you. It's crazy. But I do believe this game was wrongly put in the position of receiving the scrutiny that it did. Anyway, that being said, if we move down here and take a look at this, this is just crazy, right? So they say this. Look, we always planned for a, surprise release. The studio co-founder, Chad Greiner, told Kotaku in a preview event earlier this month. Geoff came in and wanted to do something special and put us in the Game Awards. We were going to do a shadow drop, since day one, almost since forming this company. We did it with Apex and it worked well. So they were going to do something. But this actually, this begs the question, what kind of pull does Geoff Keighley have with these people? Like, is he lording it up above them? And he's coming in and saying, no, I'm going to put you in the biggest slot of the year on my show. And it's going to be killer. Let's do it. And they're like, oh, we just planned for a shadow drop. We don't actually have any content. And he's like, no. Just go and make a trailer. And I'm like, yeah, we'll make a trailer. And the trailer was absolutely garbage. And they even admitted that themselves, saying it wasn't great. It didn't really sell the game. What is going on here? Surely Geoff is to blame for this. It is. Do you know what this is like, right? This is like I'm going to use a football analogy here. This is like a League Two team playing in the Premier League, right? It's like you've got... I don't want to, let's say you've got, who should we say? Let's say you've got Blackpool. I think they might be League One. You've got Blackpool. Suddenly, for some reason, they're now back in the Premier League, like their glory is, and they're playing against Man City or something. It's not going to go well for them, and that's basically what's happened with Highguard. It's been thrust into the sort of upper echelons of scrutiny, and it would never be able to take that. Although clearly the developers thought it could because they've been sniffing their own dev farts. I mean, here's the quote about the trailer. We've known Geoff for a long time, and he said, let me do something that's maybe a little risky in hindsight, but different, to take a free-to-play PvP raid shooter and do something with it. So we rushed a trailer together. I wish the reception had been better, but in hindsight, we made a trailer to entertain really quickly and didn't show the gameplay loop and what's different and unique. So look, let's sum this up here. This is a game that is underbaked. It seems like the development team had some pretty cool ideas, but they just put too many ideas into the game. It's not really coherent enough, and its actual marketing strategy was hijacked at the end by Geoff Keighley. They planned for years to just shadow drop the game and just go from there, which would have sort of made sense because Apex Legends did the same thing. But I still think the reaction would have been not great to the game. That what they launched still isn't great. We've got to be really clear here. But the difference would have been it would have launched to a much smaller audience, not this crazy audience that it was pumped up to get from the Game Awards reaction. And I think it's suffering from having too much exposure, and it just isn't equipped to deal with that. Now, in terms of the game's future, this is kind of mental because they do have a year of content. They've got a roadmap available. I'm not going to show you the roadmap because I ain't going to be playing the game again because I've got what I wanted out of the game, and that's it. I had a nice little time, seen a nice little different way of playing. It was kind of cool, but it wasn't enough. Now, I do want to say this as well. I'm not a game designer, but what I would have changed in this game, I think it's quite evident after even an hour of gameplay, and I think a lot of people would have come to this same conclusion. You have got a very pointless looting phase at the start of the game, which doesn't really make any sense because the enemy team are looting on their side of the map. Now, you could say maybe there's be tactics where you're going to rush the enemy team and try and take them out quick or whatever. Maybe. But you're going to be looting because having armor was such a massive bonus, and also trying to find stronger weapons. The reinforcing of your base makes no sense because it's easily destroyed. Now, it might make sense in a world where you've got additional options. Maybe you could build gun turrets or add PvE types of base defense structures and things like that. Maybe it makes sense then, but the way it's been implemented now, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a waste of 2 or 3 minutes at the start of the game. Going on to PvE enemies. Now, this is like a hybrid MOBA, first-person shooter, battle royale, 3v3, the kind of thing, right? Now, it doesn't have any PvE enemies. Now, I believe the reason for this is the devs are like, actually, we want to focus on the PvP, which is fair enough. But when you get to actually fighting the base, it doesn't feel like you're fighting the base. And I feel like the devs wanted the base to be like another character almost because of the whole raid phase, which takes place in the base. But still, it's just blow up a few walls. And even if they've been reinforced, you can blow them up straight away anyway. And then run in and click on a few generators and blow them up and you win. Just odd design decisions. Then you've got things like the maps being too big for 3v3. You've got 3v3 only really being considered because it's for matchmaking purposes. But suddenly, if you've got a massive amount of people coming in to play your game at the start, 10v10 would have made a lot more sense, I think, because it would have felt like a proper war then. You know, to have people fighting all over the place. You could decide to defend the base, have an attacking team. That, I think, would make more sense instead of what they've produced. So, and obviously the hero designs are just not great. I feel like this is a lot of ideas written down on a whiteboard, and they've picked them, and some of them are a little bit more developed than others. Most of them are underbaked. They've shoved them together in a very generic packaging, and they've threw it out there with way too much marketing, and they've ended up with this disaster. So I'm unfortunate this is the first gaming disaster of 2026. This game isn't going to have any longevity. I'll be extremely surprised if it does. I'd like to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't think this game is even got the foundation to grow into anything, right? So it's going to be an issue. The developers are going to plan for a year of content. Okay, maybe they can make some big changes. I don't know. I don't really know what impact they could have now, because this whole notion of making a splash to get people to come and play your game, it's well and truly gone. And these guys have jumped in the deep end from the highest goddamn diving board you've ever seen. Like, forget 20 meters. They've jumped off like a 200-meter diving board and they've hit the goddamn floor. They've missed the pool. They're never coming back. They've had it. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I've been Stylo. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But I do implore you, it is free to play, so at least go and try it. Don't just react to what people are commenting with reviews, videos, and stuff like that. Go out there and just try it yourself, because I mean, it's actually quite a small download as well, which is probably the most positive thing going for the game. And I did think the gunplay was okay as well. I didn't think that was too bad. It did feel like Apex. The horses were cool, right? Anyway, I've been Stylo. So if you enjoyed the video, guys, you can like the video, subscribe to me on the channel, helps a lot. And yeah, I am on everything else at Stylo, and I'll catch you a lot on the next one. See you soon. And I'm not playing Highguard. I was going to uninstall it in this video, but I'm not that dramatic. I am going to uninstall it now, though. Goodbye, Highguard.